Hello, welcome back to 10 at 10. My name is Michael Ramage. I'm the director of the Cyber Education Research Center here at Murray State University. And welcome back to 10 at 10. 10 at 10 is brought to you through a partnership between Murray State University, Grow West, the Technology Council of West Kentucky, KY Innovation, and our local partner, Sprocket Innovation in Paducah, and the Kentucky Innovation Station in Madisonville. Episode 149, we are looking at headlines of I say of the day, but it's really of the last few weeks. Looking at things that are happening. Again, I say this each week or each time we talk about headlines. It may not be the most important piece of information, but there in each of these articles that we're talking about, there's something that I want you to take away from it, something I want you to hear and actually look at how some of these pieces might impact you. All right. So first, let's bring up our other screen and HHS, so Health and Human Services, announces first ransomware settlement. There's a company, Doctors Management Services, has agreed in the settlement that they will pay $100,000 and undergo a corrective action plan to resolve claims that it violated HIPAA breach rules and failed to identify vulnerabilities in its system before experiencing a breach in 2017 that impacted the private health information of 206,000 people. This is the first settlement related to healthcare ransomware attacks. And I bring this up because if you watched a couple weeks ago, we talked about an SEC suit against a company that had been hit with a hack. Now we're looking at it, a hospital company, a healthcare company that has agreed to pay $100,000 in fines under this settlement. It's coming. The accountability piece is coming, and your organization had better be ready to handle that when it does come, or you're impacted. And frankly, the way that you get around this is following the guidance in the rules and the regulations that you're under for your whatever sector that you're in. So it's HIPAA, it's FERPA, it's Sarbanes-Oxley, it's SEC, it's whatever area that you are. There's probably some cybersecurity regulations that you'll need to follow, and make sure that you're doing that. There's another article that came out related to healthcare. So let me stick on the healthcare topic for a minute. Deep fakes could supercharge healthcare's misinformation problem. If you think back to COVID, the amount of information that was coming out during that time period, the amount of misinformation that was coming out during that time period was dramatic, just absolutely overwhelming. I'm going to say something that I don't mean to be controversial, but it's going to sound controversial to some, is that there were very few people that you could trust during that time. And frankly, for most people, Dr. Fauci was one that people trusted. But not everybody. Because, I mean, everybody has their opinion and their political perspective and whatever. I don't want to get into that. My point is that for most people, most sane people, trusted Dr. Fauci. And what if Dr. Fauci came out and said, don't get vaccinated, don't take this drug, don't anything. And it looked like him. It sounded like him. Now I realize that I think he's stepped down at this point. But if somebody like that came out and said, don't go get health or preventative medicine, don't go get this problem taken care of, it could cause massive problems. And frankly, that is what deep fakes are now able to do. And this article just highlights some of these problems. Deep fakes, it is a problem in healthcare. It is a problem in politics. What if you saw your political candidate of preference come out and say that they are officially endorsing the Chinese president to take over America? Yeah, it could be some crazy thing, but if it looked like it sounded like, it moved like, it did everything because the AI technology is so convincing. A deep fake can be really, really, real believable, and it can really cause problems. So um, just beware. I don't want to just assume everything's fake news, but I will say that there's a real chance that it's going to become harder, not easier, to determine what's real and what's fake. So you got to use judgment. Let me skip over to this because this is related to this topic. Um, this came out on November 4th, so it's a couple weeks ago. But on I think it was on Halloween. There was a blog posted on Bitdefender's blog that talked about scammers were using AI generated provocative ads to lure users into downloading and installing some malware. So they were able to use AI to generate ads that were targeting you based on your profile. So the ads, we talked about scams last week. We talked about texting primarily last week. We'll talk about social media probably next week and other scams to be on the lookout for. But we're using technology. We're using AI. We're creating, not we, the bad guy is creating better and better and better targeted scam, um, in this case, provocative ads to lure and trick you into doing things. You have to be very careful. You have to be diligent. If you've heard me talk at all, I always take the approach to be skeptical. Be skeptical about everything. My wife sent me a message on Facebook. I just assumed it was a scam and I didn't click it until she told me on the phone, why didn't you click it? I just don't trust anything on social media. So be careful with that. Two more things let me get to. First of all, there was another ransomware attack. I mean, there's ransomware attacks every day, but you've heard me talk about the new approach that ransomware attackers are using. They steal data, then they hit you with ransomware. So in this case, Boeing didn't pay, apparently, and ultimately, Lockbit ransomware leaked more than 43 gig of data, of files from Boeing after ransomware refused to pay the ransom. That happened last week with a casino. A couple weeks ago, we talked about a casino that happened to. This is the threat now. This is the new ransom. If holding your data ransom in the sense of encrypting your hard drive isn't sufficient, now that next tier of ransom is going up, and now they're threatening to release data. And by and large, if you don't pay, they release data. If you do pay, they won't. So you have to be careful on that. And then finally, let me talk about this last one. The U.S. government has launched a new campaign designed to encourage critical infrastructure stakeholders to increase or to enhance cyber resilience in their organizations. So this is a really interesting article. I hope you take the time to click on it and read it. It has four main points. Understand your infrastructure and dependencies, conduct a comprehensive risk assessment, create actionable plans, and measure progress and drive continuous improvement. Those are the four things. How do you do that? If you're not a cybersecurity person, then you might need some assistance to do that. Honestly, reach out to us. We can help connect you with people. If you need training for your organization, we actually are in the process of approving a new certificate program so that you can get some short time training for cybersecurity industrial controls. I think the name of the certificate is going to be industrial cybersecurity. But the whole point of it is to look at these cyber physical, these industrial control systems that people are using, operations technology, some call it, and help your people become prepared to secure these industrial controls. So this talks about water plants, electric grid. Around Western Kentucky, there's a lot of chemical plants. Same thing goes for them. Any manufacturing, any critical infrastructure would need this type of training. So pay attention There's more details that will be coming out regarding the guidance from CISA. But it is really important that we do that. And starting with understanding your infrastructure and conducting a security assessment, a risk assessment, is going to be a really good place to start. Anyway, I hope you found these articles interesting for today. There's a lot going on out there. There's a lot more that we could get to that we just ran out of time. But thank you very much for joining in, and I'll see you next week back here on 10 at 10. Thank you. Bye.